Hold the presses, our gods have been toying with us again. This is not the video I said would be number 47. 3 days ago, on 20 July 2026, Kier Starmer stood down as Prime Minister and Andy Burnham became the new Prime Minister. The more things change, the more they stay the same. Jean-Baptiste Alphonse Carr. I'm speaking to you and uploading this 3 days after that announcement on the 23rd of July 2026. The birth of this creation was a conversation you can see in the comments section under my last video. It made me look at Burnham and see the exact same structure, bone size, body size, skull, etc. as Kier Starmer, even the fat distribution, and the same British middle-aged pudding face. Article from 11 years ago. Tristram Hunt touted as next Labour leader and therefore potential Prime Minister. But they changed their mind and planned for his rise later, years later, under a different name. He was in the shadow cabinet and was a rising star. Is he familiar to you at all? Well, years later, with the help of some middle-aged spread and latex artwork, of course, he was transformed into Kier Starmer. Why not just keep him as Tristram and make Tristram Prime Minister later? I don't know. But it's all the fun of the fair, and now Tristram has resigned from politics and disappeared, and we forget about him. But he did set the stage for the current farce. Last week, Burnham gave a speech which included a tribute to Starmer. What struck me was that the article said it was surprising and rude that Starmer, who was in the same room earlier, didn't stay to hear Burnham's speech. But if Burnham equals Starmer, they're never going to be seen together, except with some trickery effort. On Sunday, I saw a Parliament scene on YouTube. It must have been about a previous weekday, as Parliament doesn't sit on Sunday. Kemi Badenoch gave a tribute to Starmer, and it was noted to be odd that new MP Andy Burnham wasn't there to hear it. These things may seem inconsequential, but I don't think they are. I have seen a dodgy video of Burnham and Starmer together, and lots of photos, but they've all raised suspicions. Just to show you that I'm used to spotting fake videos and fake photos, I did a video 4 years ago about photos pretending to be of two different people, where in reality it's the same person, and the photo is a collage of 3 or more separate photos. They are usually portrayed as being the same height, but not here for some reason. But they are the same height, of course. Telephoto lenses bring the foreground and background closer together, but they definitely do not make the background bigger than the foreground, as happens here. Look how massive these cars are. Also, this is a funeral. What photographer would have that fence and cars as background, instead of the greenery of a cemetery, or the church, or the vicar maybe? It's a collage of 3 different photos. Do non-identical twins give identical reactions like this? No, but it's nice to artistically create it. Did Burnham start out with dark brown hair as a young man and go to light hair and then to black? This is probably inconsequential things, but they kept me going. And they both have weird eyes. I don't know if this is astigmatism. Eyes give information, but not here. Not when they're hidden behind coloured contact lenses. They've done a good job with Burnham Starmer, but not a good job with the photos, as I keep saying. Straight men never put their face this close to another man's face. It's not comfortable. It's aggressive. The photos are so bad, they have to be clues for us. And we need all the clues we can get. If you've followed my actor-based reality videos, you know they make less effort with the spouses. I suspect rather than laziness, it's to give us a chance. No point to the game if the deception isn't discoverable. But in this case, their wives are completely different women. They've both got a good-looking wife, but Victoria Starmer is stunning, beauty transcending whatever age she is, and will need to be returning to her. So then I typed into Google, women who are important to Burnham. If you do that now, it's all about his cabinet women. He recently declared a cabinet, and it contains the most women of any cabinet in history. I searched just before his cabinet decision, and along with his wife I got this woman, who we've never heard of. She is Caroline Simpson, who is Chief Executive of Manchester Council. An important role, and she worked with Burnham as he was the Mayor of Manchester, so they know each other very well. She's a slick CEO who will leave Manchester Council to take on a new role in Burnham's government. She'll be in charge of number 10 North in Manchester. Burnham's obviously obsessed with Game of Thrones and wants to be the King of the North. Does Caroline ring any bells for you? Is she familiar? Yes, you bet she is. She's Burnham's real woman, but she's Victoria Starmer. Now, my long-term subscribers who know the games they play will say, okay, same woman, so Burnham is Starmer, end of. But I have to think of the majority who will not be so sure, will not know the games they play, and will benefit from some detailed analysis of fixtures and features of the subject, which I will include in this video. They sometimes do such a good job on the principle that they have to give us an opening in the spouse, otherwise the game would be much too hard. No point having a joke deception if it's never discovered. I've been looking at spouses for many years, and I need to show you how it works, so you realise it just goes on all the time. These collages are for my next video, which will include Simon Cowell is Pierce Brosnan. Cowell was actually swapped out a couple of years ago, and a different actor plays him now, and I'll show that in the next video. But now I'm talking about this Cowell, the main Cowell. These photos taken about 10 or 15 years ago, while the two of them, were still young and beautiful before God's joke that degrades us all. There's enough here to see the same features in the women, except for the odd feature that's been changed prosthetically. They are the same woman, as we shall hopefully see. In my next video, I'll specialise on comparing their bodies of the principals on the beach, Cowell and Brosnan. But we're talking about the spouses now, not the principals. I found these two photos with the female characters at the same angle. Notice the high, prominent cheekbones and the prominent chin. You can have a prominent chin on a beautiful face, but it's a marker. Her cheek and chin trace a marked C shape. Incidentally, even the male characters, look how their upper lip disappears when they smile. Blast from the past. In video 22 I showed how Prime Minister Boris Johnson's wife on the right looked identical to Matt Lucas's husband. I haven't uploaded Robin Williams yet, but have collected many photos. It's great news he didn't die after all. A whole video is needed for him. He actually plays lots of people, including Robert Herjavec, the Shark Tank investor. And of course they have the same wives. I made a list of the identical features in the wives, in the purple here, and I'm going to use that same list for Caroline and Victoria. You can pause this photo or come back to it if you want. Because this video is topical politics, I have to mention Nigel Farage, who on 13th of August fights a rubbish bin to see which one becomes the next MP for Clacton. Farage is anti-vaxxer Andrew Wakefield, and you can see their wives are identical. I don't know what this woman bottom right is, but next to her you can see both their blonde wives are identical to each other. Again, it's an old photo. One or two of them I have changed their wife by now, but this shows you they're the same person. Now, all of these spouses were to show you examples of the game of perfidy, and it's very common. So don't be surprised when you see it. Often, like with Burnham and Starmer, you can't really see anything in the principle much that tells you they're the same, but it's the things around them, like their spouses. I haven't looked at their bodies on the beach. That might be another one, and their children. The things around them that tells you they're the same people. When you break it down materially to each individual little component, it makes it more scientific. but I doubt it will still be enough for the non-player character. People have a massive subconscious block against realising that their worldview is nonsense. But if your worldview is nonsense, just relax and say goodbye to it. Anyway, here we go. Identicalities between Burnham's woman and Starmer's woman. The skull shape, the eye shape, the teeth. But Victoria has two stick-on veneers on her front two teeth, just to look different from Caroline. But it's not working. More identical things. Her teeth show in smile, dental palate, lips, lip shape in smile, chin, nasolabial folds, cheek creases. Actually, we can't really tell as Caroline's photo is low resolution. Now I've added two more, neck and hair. Not just hair length, but the texture and the way it curves out at the end. She's got nice hair, so can't blame her for not wanting to give one of her characters a wig to be different from the other. She's got something that's not in fashion at the moment. Can you spot it? It's only noteworthy because both women do it, and it cements even further that they are the same woman. It's her very thin, penciled-in eyebrows. Looks better with the lighter hair colour. 40 and 50 years ago, women wanted very thin eyebrows and would pluck them, often until nothing grew back and they had to use an eyebrow pencil, and they kept it very thin. 10 and 20 years ago, young women, for some reason, thought that huge masculine eyebrows looked good. I think now, in 2026, we've relaxed down to a happy medium. Multi-role actors can get professional makeup artists and choose from all sorts of professional stick-on brows in any colour or size, but that can be risky. Look at Ron Paul, far right. How embarrassing. And Justin Trudeau, former Prime Minister of Canada, also losing an eyebrow. In our real-life Coronation Street, will Burnham divorce his blonde wife, who likely has her own man somewhere, and will he marry Caroline, his true love? Very possibly. Will the non-player characters say, hey, she's Kier Starmer's wife? No, I don't think there's a chance of that. Nobody noticed Cowell's wife or Robin Williams or N.Farage or the thousands of others. Most watching this video won't even believe it. So they will be free to be themselves at last. There were no uploads from me from August 2024 to June 2026. And I want to get some motivation to improve on that. The best way I came up with is positive reinforcement in the form of tips from you. If you like my videos, please buy me a coffee. Permanent link under the channel heading on the home page. It's pretty lonely making these videos, and the odd £2 tip will incentivise me to keep going. As far as I know, I'm the only person doing this honest, non-fear porn analysis. If you know another, please tell me in the comments. I think most will agree that once you discover things are not as they seem, then that becomes the only game in town. Nothing is more interesting, and everything else pales into insignificance. My name is Paul, I live in UK. I don't normally do videos to camera, but you can see me in some old videos, 23, 28 and the end of 31. I'm really hoping to get a donation from Donald Trump. Compare his stubby little hands to Prince William. Tiny hands for a big tall man. Canadian comic actor John Candy, another big tall guy, same size as Trump actually, and also has stubby little hands. This Trump photo I used on video 22 and the few that follow are from Susie Cream Cheese. I think she's right. Trump is John Candy, and I'm glad John Candy is really still alive. He made some very funny films. And Trump is just an act. Same mouth and neck. Trump as a young man was Elvis Presley. That's actually easier to show than Candy, and they had the same wife. But let's keep it simple. And now we're talking about the current Trump, which is this. I also think Trump Candy is this German prince. So watch this video that follows. they're laying on a show for us. The intelligent design, whatever that is, hasn't just created us and left us to get on with it. It's intimately involved in everything. It or its trustees decides the important things, not the Trump persona, and that's good. Thanks for watching. See you next time.
So the first call that Kier had with the president, he got into a conversation about windmills, and he started saying, look, Britain's a beautiful country, but you have too many windmills. Fine. He was making his point. He's made that publicly enough times. Then he started to say the windmills are killing your birds. The birds are falling by the windmills. The foxes are eating those birds. And at this point, the officials that were in the room were barely able to contain themselves because it was extremely funny. But this was the first call between the Prime Minister and the President, and everyone wanted to be professional but were struggling to hold it together. And he went on to say that as the foxes ate so many birds and became lazy, they became fat. And as they became so fat, people no longer knew what kind of a creature they were because they were too fat. They were these fat foxes walking around Scotland eating dead birds. And this was the first call between the President and the Prime Minister, and I thought, this is just going to be so very, very different.
Did Keir Starmer allow himself to laugh?
No, he just held it together. I don't know how. He just absolutely contained himself. No one else in the room did.